Hello, hello! My name is Kallista, and welcome back to Danganronpa V3, Killing Harmony. In the last episode, we had another death, Tenko. I liked Tenko. She was problematic, but she was also very, very funny, and as it turns out, if y'all can make me laugh, I will forgive a lot of bad behavior. Yeah, I'm really sad to see her go, but we have to investigate. We have to focus on the investigation. It's the magic circle Kiyo drew on the floor. At least it was.
Oh dear.
This is actually... I'm looking at the floorboard under Tenko. It's been moved. Ooh. It's been completely stomped over. I suppose it was unavoidable.
Well...
Was this drawn with salt?
Yes.
Whenever I perform a seance, I always use salt.
What?
Are you feeling all right? You sound ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. I have performed many successful seances. Why, I've even had spirits enter my butt. Again, I think he's talking about orgies. I have performed many successful orgies. I've even had people enter my body. Like, I think that's what he means.
I'm right already.
Shut up. I don't want to hear about your stupid delusions. Maki really doesn't beat around the bush. It's kind of refreshing, actually.
But...
In any case, with all these footprints, I can't make out the original circle.
So what?
We'll find out in Kiyo's lab. It should be written in the Caged Dog Village document.
Hey.
Isn't that right, Kiyo? He seems depressed. I suppose that makes sense. Magic Circle Kiyo drew has been added to the Truth Bullet section of your monopad. And oh, Tenko. Oh, my dear, it's I think you can even see the stab wound in the back of her neck. Yeah, that is... It's pretty much identical to Angie's. This floorboard is loose. And it's the one right under Tenko.
Why?
Why is this floorboard loose?
if I remember correctly...
It wasn't like this before. It must have come loose during the seance.
Why?
Why would it have come loose during the seance?
But...
A floorboard this thick and heavy wouldn't have come loose easily. Then someone must have loosened it on purpose. Loose floorboard has been added to the Truth Bullet section of your monopad. Okay, we can't look at the blood in particular. Tenko's dead body. She took her last breath crouched over like this. According to the Monokuma file, her only injury is the stab wound to her neck. This wound was fatal. This must have caused instant death. I didn't hear a scream during the seance. Wait. Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over. I mean... Tenko she had a lot of, mental fortitude and this, that, and the other. I still think if she was stabbed in the neck and it didn't immediately kill her, I think she would have still called out. I think she would have screamed, "Oh my god, I've been stabbed, what the fuck?" I think this had to be instant death. Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over. Would Tenko really keep her mouth shut despite the pain? Nah, again, instant death. instant death had to be.
Nope.
Her death might not have been instant, but she couldn't have gone far before she bled out.
Huh?
What do you mean?
What's the point?
You were concerned about that, right?
Okay.
With a wound this deep, the victim is too shocked to do anything except die. You're speaking from experience.
That's obvious.
Of course. Quick deaths are my speciality. Well then, that makes sense.
By the way,
The real question is, what was she killed with? I don't see a murder weapon around. You're right, I don't see an obvious murder weapon. That could be a clue. Tenko's last moments has been added to the truth bullet section of your monopad. I do have a thought. I have a thought, but I think I want to hold off. I think I want to hold off until I've seen everything. There's a rock next to Tenko's body. This must be... Please rest your forehead upon this stone marker I've placed here. It's just a stone I brought from the courtyard. Are you sure it'll work? Certainly. It is merely needed as a marker for her forehead to rest upon. Like this? Tenko had her forehead on this rock, hunched over. She had to make herself small to fit inside the cage. Marker stone has been added to the truth bullet section of your monopad. And we even had... Okay, now we can look at the cage. Good. You can see blood on it. This is the cage used in the seance.
is this...
It looks to be around 3 feet high and 5 feet wide. It's a pretty large iron cage.
Okay.
Big enough for a person to fit inside. During the seance, Kokichi and I covered Tenko with the cage. We were supposed to remove it as well. But it was Himiko who rushed in and removed the cage first.
Hey,
Hey, look at this.
is this...
A bloodstain on the bottom of the cage. Probably Tenko's blood, yeah?
That's true.
Yes, I imagine so. This spatter must have been made when she was killed.
What do you mean?
Which means Tenko was killed while she was inside the cage.
Okay.
I think you're right. Tenko went under the cage before the seance. But when the cage was lifted after the seance, she was already dead.
Then...
If she was stabbed right when the cage was lifted, that would explain the bloodstain, right?
Huh?
Perhaps she wasn't killed during the seance, but the exact moment the cage was lifted. I mean... Are you saying lifted like it was put down, or lifted like it was removed? Because either way, everyone had a complete view of the cage. Like, let's say it was when the cage was lifted up. You know, after the seance, Himiko lifts up the cage. If she had then stabbed Tenko in the neck, everyone would have seen that. That doesn't make much sense to me. Perhaps she wasn't killed during the seance, but the exact moment the cage was lifted. That is a possibility. How? I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, if Himiko lifted the cage and then stabbed Tenko in the back of the neck, everyone would have been able to see that. I'm very confused with that logic. Iron cage has been added to the truth bullet section of your monopad. Okay. Okay, do we have... Yeah, oh, hello. Hello! No, that wasn't what I wanted. That wasn't what I wanted. Still, we should look at the candles also. I'll be back to that. I'll be back to that in the corner. Candles hung on the walls. They're the only source of light in the room. There are no windows in this room, so without the candles, it was pitch black. But how did the culprit kill Tenko in complete darkness? What was that? Yeah. Hole in the corner. There's a small opening in the corner of the room. It doesn't look big enough for a person to get through, but still.
Is this...
a hole? Looks like there's space under here too. Oh, hold on. I can see something below. It looks like something dropped down there.
Huh?
What? Something dropped down there? Was something dropped from here? Hole in the corner has been added to the truth bullet section of your monopad.
Hey.
After we check everywhere else, why don't we go under the floor and see for ourselves?
You're right.
Right, let's do it.
By the way...
It seems pretty dark down there. What should we use for light?
That's true.
Let's bring a candle. With Kibo's light from up here, that should be fine.
Okay.
Then I'll go get a candle. Remove that floorboard so we can go down.
Okay.
Okay, got it. I pulled off some of the floorboards near the hole and took the candle from Maki. Then we carefully made our way through the hole and under the floor. Oh, hello. Hello. This is a lot more spacious than I thought. You can move pretty easily on all fours.
Okay.
Let's look around for clues.
Well...
It'd be pretty stupid if we found no clues after crawling around in this dusty place.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean... Hello. Hello? I'ma get to you in a minute. Okay, no, this is the hole, so this is our candle. But this can't be the hole that we came through because it's underneath. It's not from above. Oh, hello, hello. Let's start with the fresh blood. Blood dripping from the gaps in the floorboards. Fresh blood. This is definitely Tenko's. But here we have dried blood. Oh. There's a blood stain on the ground underneath the loose floorboard. But that's pretty far from where Tenko's blood is dripping down. It's under the same floorboard, just at different ends. Why is there blood here?
Hey.
Hey, the back of this floorboard has blood on it too.
Ah.
You're right. There's a little bit of blood on the underside of this floorboard.
What do you mean?
Did Tenko's blood splatter here when she got killed?
That's true.
I wonder. I can't really be sure yet.
Okay.
But the bloodstains here are completely dry. There must be some reason these particular stains are dry. Dried blood under the floor has been added to the truth bullet section of your monopad. Loose floorboard has been added to the truth bullet section of your monopad. My first thought, we know that Angie got hit over the head. We don't know what with, but we know that she got hit over the head. And someone tried to staunch the bleeding, and it was a particularly deep cut that would have bled. And this blood is dry, I think. I think we found our culprit for what caused the head wound. There's a sickle here, and there's blood all over it.
Okay.
The blood on this sickle is fresh. This is it. This is the murder weapon.
Is this...
Oh. So someone did go and raid the Ultimate Assassin's lab. Damn. This came from my research lab.
Huh?
It did?
Well,
A sickle can be used to assassinate a target. It can be thrown without losing any lethality, and it can hide under your clothes too.
Well,
If she was attacked with this, she wouldn't stand a chance. The blade is about 6 inches.
that's right.
And since Tenko was in the cage, she wouldn't have been able to defend herself.
but
But even if this is our murder weapon, how did the culprit attack Tenko in the cage? The blade could fit through the gaps in the cage, but could it reach her neck?
That's true.
The cage is 3 feet high. If you were to stab into it with a 6-inch blade, well, it would depend on Tenko's posture, but I don't think it's impossible. Then her posture is the question.
Hey,
Hey, if the weapon is down here, the culprit must have thrown it away, right?
that's true.
Perhaps after killing Tenko, the culprit threw the sickle under the floor in the dark. Or they could have been under the floor the entire time. Either of those is possible. Sickle under the floor has been added to the truth bullet section of your monopad. Okay, and... yeah, where does this hole go? Some of the wood has corroded and is broken off, so you can see into the next room.
hey,
This is the wall of the empty room, right? Looks like there's wood along the wall. This part is rotted away. It looks like natural rot. This hole wasn't made intentionally. But I can get into the next room through here.
that's true.
If I remember correctly, the room next door is also empty, right? Then the culprit could have gone from room to room by moving under here instead of using the hallway.
No.
True, but it would have been difficult moving around under the floor. We did all right because we had a light. Without it, it'd be pitch black. That might make it impossible to move around in there.
Nope.
Then they could have used the light, like we're doing right now. Here's the thing, if they used a light, bearing in mind that the floorboards aren't nailed down, and they were in pitch black, if someone was moving around under here with a light, it'd show up, right? From above, you'd be able to see, like, you know, oh, is the cage child Angie Yanaga? Is the cage child Angie Yanaga? Who the fuck is moving under the floor? What the why is there light? You'd be able to see that, surely. Then they could have used a light, like we're doing right now.
Well,
True. They used a light to move around under the floor? Is that possible? You know what? I'm gonna go over what I'm thinking right now. It's Kiyo. His behavior is really weird. I don't like the fact that this murder happens and he's immediately there going, oh, there are probably 2 killers. There are probably 2 different killers. What do we do if there are 2 different killers? I'm like, that's real weird. That's real weird. Also, I don't know if you caught this. He inadvertently confirmed that he was the one who strung up the effigies. So we know he's involved in all of this. He said he got the matches from the warehouse. When? When did he get the matches from the warehouse? Bearing in mind, he also said, if you're thinking, oh, well, it would have been when he went to get the salt. The monocubs have been placing items that are specific in each Ultimate's labs. Kiyo said, I always use the same type of salt when I do seances. I would put money that the salt was in his lab. And he left the Cage Dog Village document in his lab. He was doing the magic circle from memory, so no one could have helped him. He didn't have time to go down to the warehouse and get some matches. So when did he get matches? It must have been when he was getting the rope to string up the effigies. I have a nasty taste. A nasty taste in my mouth.
Ah,
Look! Part of the crosspiece that supports the floorboard is cut off.
That's true.
It's near the loose floorboard, and the portion missing is about the same width, too. And from what I can see of it,
that's true.
it wasn't broken off naturally. This was cut by someone. There should be saws in the warehouse, so they could have used that. As I said, we know that Kiyo was in the warehouse recently. Kiyo. There should be saws in the warehouse, so they could have used that. The question is, why? Another cross piece is supporting the floorboard, so it might not fall if this portion is missing.
Then...
So what purpose did this serve? The floorboard underneath Tenko's body is loose, and the crosspiece supporting it has been cut. If the culprit did all of this, then why? Crosspiece under the floor has been added to the truth bullet section of your monopad. I think we've finished investigating here.
Is that all right?
Maki, you want to head back up? Glad you asked. I was starting to get fed up with all this dust. After Maki and I crawled out from under the floor, we put the floorboards back and returned to our investigation.
By the way,
We've only been investigating this room. You sure that's wise?
Huh?
What do you mean?
because...
If Angie and Tenko have different killers, then the blackened we need to vote for is...
You're right.
the culprit for the first murder, the culprit who killed Angie. That's what Monokuma said.
Then...
So instead of investigating Tenko's death, shouldn't we be investigating Angie's?
Okay.
Yes, of course.
But...
But this is bigger than the killing game. For the sake of the two who died, I need to reveal the truth of both their deaths. Well, I understand why you feel that way. But if you plan on investigating the other crime scene again, we should probably hurry. Okay. Okay, yeah, we'll leave. There was mention of... Oh, when I came to the hallway. A scene more surprising than I could ever imagine unfolded. What?
It's a lie!
Bitch! You little shit! This is why no one loves you! God damn it! I need a moment. I need a moment to collect myself. I'm calm. I'm calm. Did I surprise you? Were you gonna scream and cry in terror?
Huh?
What are you doing? The fuck is that face? Bitch! Bitch! The fuck is wrong with you, Kokichi? Heh.
Oh?
Oh, sorry. I'm just a little lightheaded from the blood loss. Yeah, this is real blood.
Why?
Okay, so what are you doing? I got curious about something, so I decided to search the empty room next door. Then suddenly... I stepped through the floorboard.
Huh?
You stepped through a floorboard.
That's so mean.
Jeez, that got me good. Because of this, I tripped and fell pretty hard.
Got a minute?
if you're going to lose consciousness, do it after you tell us everything.
Ah.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I guess there was no crosspiece supporting this floorboard, so I kinda stepped through. What bad luck! The crosspiece was gone. Does that mean... God damn.
Huh?
I'll accept that, huh?
Confidence! Dreams! That's what the Killing Game is all about! Killing Game fans! Hold your head high and watch with your own two eyes! Baseball, soccer, mobile games! They're all nothing compared to the Killing Game! The Killing Game just can't be beat! Behold, students! The entrance to the trial grounds!
I guess time's up.
Oh.
Oh man! It's 'cause of you guys. I didn't have enough time to check something.
Huh?
What were you trying to check?
See?
I wanted to research the seance again, so I brought this document with me. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything new that could be used as a clue. Kiyo perfectly reenacted the seance as what was written in the document. He drew his magic circle the exact same way as in the picture. Not only that, he used the same exact tools too. Nothing suspicious about this whole thing. Well, I wanted to check the finer details, but I'll tell you about it later. At the class trial, so see you there. Kokichi left, the blood loss clearly affecting his footing a bit. Bloody Kokichi has been added to the truth bullet section of your monopad. Let's go to...
That's true.
Yeah, okay. Is Maki nervous? I see, so even she gets nervous sometimes.
Do you want to die?
What are you staring at? Do you want to die? My thought is, which... I don't suppose. I need to head to the Shrine of Judgment in the courtyard. Boo! Boo! I'd be interested. One, which room did Kokichi go in? And two, the remaining room, did that also have a cut cross piece? Because let me down. Oh, this I feel, how do I put this? There are bits and pieces where I'm having to make educated guesses here. For my theory as to what went down, I'm having to make educated guesses. In part because, to be honest, we have no motivation. We have no obvious motivation as to why all of this went down. It's just sort of happened. You know, I tend to give my theories in front of the Shrine of Judgment, so let's just step up to the door. Okay. Now, where do I want to begin? Where do I want to begin for this? Okay. So, I think to start off, I think I'm going to go into motivation. Because I'm trying to put together words. I was told at the beginning of this chapter, and I am extremely grateful for this, I was told, hey, just be careful. There is stuff that you might find personally triggering in this trial. Or in this chapter, rather. And here's the thing. So far, there hasn't been anything triggering. Well, unless you're triggered by murder, in which case, to be very blunt, if you're triggered by murder, why are you playing a Danganronpa game? Why are you playing that? The only thing I find personally triggering, it's rape and sexual assault regarding children. And considering that these are all high school students, I do consider them children. With that in mind, if I am being warned, hey, there is stuff in here that you might find personally triggering, I'm like, well, nothing's happened so far. Nothing of that nature has happened so far. Therefore, it has to come up in the trial. Why would anything like that come up in the trial? Unless it's part of the motivation. One, I think that Kiyo did this. Kiyo was the one who was like, oh, there are two killers. There are two killers. Yet, the method of murder is the exact same between both Angie and Tenko. They both got stabbed in the back of the neck. Why would you assume, based on that, why would you assume that there are two killers? If both victims have been killed in the exact same way, what makes you think there are two killers? Unless you're just trying to, you know, scatter your own tracks. Like, oh, there are two killers, there are two killers. Ha ha ha. I did both of them. It's sketch. It's sketch. We know that I was going to say Kokichi then, pardon me. We know that Kiyo was in the warehouse recently. He admitted as much when he said he went to get the matches. He couldn't have done it just now. It had to be before. Presumably when he was getting the rope and the saw to cut the cross pieces. Now, I think... God, part of me's like, I don't... Again, it's because I find this personally triggering. I'm like, I don't want this to be the case. I think what happened here... I think that Kiyo raped Angie. I think that Kiyo... He grabbed one of the floorboards from the empty room. And I think we know that... Because we know that Angie was on her own in her lab. We know that Kiyo... He mentioned before that he was going to spend some time sorting out his lab. He mentioned that, and I can't remember what day he said he was doing that. But I think maybe he was in his lab. He realized that Angie was alone. So he picked up one of the floorboards from the empty room, and he waited outside her lab. She comes out. He bashes her over the head. No, that can't be the case. Because the bloodstain was in the empty room. It wasn't just that there was blood on the floorboard, there was also a bloodstain. Kiyo, I think... So I'm trying to put together clues as I'm trying to explain myself. Again, I absolutely love this. I absolutely love this feeling of trying to decipher clues on the fly rather than storing a load of them up and being able to go back. Like, I really enjoy having to actually try and think and deduce on the spot. It's so satisfying to me. I think that Kiyo was in the empty room. And I think maybe he lured Angie there. I'm not entirely sure why she would also be there, but I think because of where the bloodstain is, I think they must have been in that empty room. And I think he beat her over the head. He got some duct tape to stem the bleeding. And I think he raped her. And then I think he transported her back to his lab. And he decided, you know what? I'm going to kill her. I still want to perform this seance. I've wanted to perform this seance for a while. You know, I'm questioning my own theory here. Now, I'm going to go through it and I'll deal with the... But wait, how does this fit in afterwards? Okay, so he and Angie are in the empty room. Maybe he lured her there. I'm not entirely sure. He bashes her over the head, gets some duct tape, stems the bleeding. I think he rapes her. He takes her back to her lab. He then kills her himself with the katana. He decides, I want to do this seance. We're going to contact Angie's ghost because I'm a sick fuck. He gets the rope. He's attaching the effigies to the ceiling. He's hanging them upside down to make the setting real weird. As for how he got out, we never learned if there was a hole in Angie's lab. We never learned about the floor in Angie's lab. So I think I'm gonna go with my other theory that he pushed the katana. So he locks the cylinder lock, and then for the other door, he pushes the katana, not the katana, the effigy that has the katana in it, making it swing. You know, it'd, give me a minute. Oh, no, I can't do it with this. But, I was gonna make the reticle swing back and forth, but I think that's what he did. He made the effigy swing back and forth, and then the katana, it'd scrape against the door and knock the lock. We know that lock, it doesn't stick. It doesn't catch. It's very easy. So I think that's what he did there. I think at that point, he leaves. I've been thinking about what Mew said. She made the comment of this was all to lure Tenko to that room. And if you think about Kiyo's behavior, Kiyo, the only place they could have performed the seance was in the empty rooms. Those are the only enclosed rooms that don't have windows. It had to be one of those rooms, and yet he didn't put that forward himself. He was like, oh, what room shall we use? Why don't you guys decide? Kokichi said, what about your lab? Oh, no, not there, because that has windows. If only there was a room without windows, wherever could it be? Kiyo's not stupid. He knows full well that those empty rooms are the only rooms they could have used. So why not suggest that himself? Unless he was purposefully, again, covering his tracks. I didn't suggest those rooms, Himiko did. I didn't suggest the middle one, Himiko did. But if all of the rooms had one loose plank, it didn't matter which one. It didn't matter which one. They're all basically the same. I think, bearing in mind, so he knew it had to be one of those rooms. He knew it had to be one of those rooms. Again, he doesn't say anything. He's like, oh, let someone else decide. But I know which rooms you're going to pick. And then again, oh, we need someone to be the spirit medium. But not any of the guys. It'd work best if a girl did it. And then Tenko jumped forward to be like, oh, I'll be the one to do it. If he had wanted Himiko dead, then he could very easily have said, oh, no. Because Himiko is a mage, she would be more attuned to the spirit world. Therefore, it would be best if she did it. But he didn't complain. He was like, yep, Tenko, step up. I wonder, so again, back to the night before, he's raped Angie, he's killed her, he's done all of this. I think he goes back to his room, and I wonder I wonder if maybe Tenko got up early. We don't know how long this took Kiyo. It might have taken him until the wee early hours of the morning. I wonder if he was going into his room and maybe Tenko was going out. We know that she was up to try and find Himiko. I wonder if she saw Kiyo going back to his room but maybe thought, oh, he's getting up. She didn't realize what she had seen. And Kiyo thought, oh shit, she's seen me. She's seen something. She doesn't realize this right now, but if she stops and thinks about it, she's going to realize that I'm not where I'm claiming to be. Oh, I was asleep this whole time. I was with you guys. I was in my room. She's going to realize that that isn't the case, so I need to kill her. I need to kill her to cover up what I've done. As for the how, he has no. Questions afterwards. The seance goes on. My thought is that Kiyo was the one who put the cloth down. Kiyo was the one who covered the cage with the cloth. If he sleight of handed the sickle onto the roof of the cage, no one would know. Because the cloth is covering the cage. Maybe he's, doing one side of it. And at that point he uses, he just kind of sticks his hand up. And he's, pretending to, be, smoothing the cloth or something. He could attach the sickle to the roof of the cage. Lights out. Again, I'm working this. We're gonna get there. I reckon lights out. He takes off one of his shoes. And he just follows the soul. If you're in the dark, you don't technically need your eyes to see if you have a path. He had a path. It was made of salt. As long as one of his feet was touching that, he'd be able to follow it. I reckon he took off one of his shoes. Maybe it was loose. Maybe he had pre-loosened it. And then that thud, just stomp. He stomps down on the board. And that would launch Tenko up. She gets stabbed in the back of her throat. He retraces his steps. Puts his shoe back on. Just slips it on. And then when it comes time to what's happening? Why isn't she responding? Again, just sleight of hand. He removed the cloth. He could have reached up and through, put the sickle down his sleeve. And then in all the chaos, oh my god, Tenko, what's happened to Tenko? He just, puts it down the hole. He lets it slip out and into the hole. Now, the main issue I have with this theory, because I do have an issue with it, the seance requires a whole load of pre-planning. Because he'd have to cut the crossbeam in each room. Which meant that he was planning the seance murder. Why would you bother doing that? Why would you bother cutting the crossbeams in each room? He must have been planning to do that. My big question is, if he was planning to do a murder in the seance, why bother raping and killing Angie? Like I said, I've been warned there is triggering material in this. You may feel uncomfortable, so I'm like, okay, rape and sexual assault has to be part of the motive here. And I don't think he raped or sexually assaulted Tenko, because she would have kicked his ass. I think it's far more likely that out of the two, he raped or sexually assaulted Angie. In which case, what's the thing with the cross beams? He couldn't have done that during the morning. That had to have been done during the night. So at some point he decided, right, I'm gonna kill someone during the seance. Maybe Tenko was up on that level in the middle of the night. Maybe. I think that's the best way I can solve this. He rapes and kills Angie, and then he was coming out of his lab maybe, and Tenko was there, and maybe, oh, there goes my timer. Maybe she spotted him, and she just didn't realize what she saw, and he thought, shit, if she thinks about that for a minute, then I'm screwed. I need to cut the cross beams. That's the theory I'm going with. It's very muddled. I do apologize for how muddled that is, but that is as much sense as I can make of this. I think that, again, just to recap, hopefully in slightly better order, I think that Kiyo bashed Angie over the head with the floorboard. He attempted to stem the bleeding using duct tape. He raped her. He killed her. He then begins preparing for a seance murder. So maybe he transported Angie to her lab, and then maybe he left to get the rope for the effigy, and maybe Tenko saw him coming out of the warehouse. And maybe then he thought, oh shit, I've got to kill her now. If she stops and thinks about this for 5 minutes, she's going to realize I was up to something dodgy. So you know what? I've got to kill her. So he begins preparing to kill her during the seance. He sets up the locked room. And again, he's... Kiyo's language in this chapter, it's been very clever. It's been very clever because he's left so much up to other people when in actual fact they didn't really have much of a choice. I like I said, I would like not to be right on that. I don't want to think that Kiyo would rape Angie, but again, to be brutally honest, out of the entire cast, who is most likely to do something rapey? I'd say Kiyo. I don't think anyone else has it in them, but Kiyo, I'm just kind of like, you sketch me out. You sketch me out in that way, and I don't know. I think that was my messiest theory I've ever given. I think that was a complete mess, but that's what I'm going with. In the next episode, we begin the class trial, but until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Kallista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.